All right, everybody, how's it going? My name is Ryan Fowler, and today I'll be discussing my public speaking presentation for Show and Tell, and I'll be talking about one of my favorite albums of all time, The College Dropout. So, if you don't know, The College Dropout is made by Kanye West in February 2004. It was his first ever album, and the album, really goes to show what it means to be a college dropout. He wanted to take the negative stigma that is behind students who don't finish college, hence being the college dropout, and flip it. He was one of those students who did 2 years away at school, and he realized this wasn't really for me. And instead of transferring, he just decided to drop out. He decided to chase his dream, obviously that dream being music. Now, at the time leading up to this album, he was pretty successful as a college dropout in the music industry, but it wasn't for rapping. It was for producing. And producing in hip hop is when you are the guy who makes the beats. You are the beat maker, the instrumental guy. And he was actually finding a lot of success in doing that. He was working with big names, specifically Jay-Z, Common, Talib Kweli. And, he was just kind of Jay-Z's beat guy is what he was known as. But that wasn't enough for him. He wanted to be a rapper himself. He wanted to be the one rapping it over his own beats. And he had no trouble getting record deals as solely a producer, but again, he was not satisfied with just that. So before having any record deal or anything, he decided to just start writing his own songs. And his breakout single, Through the Wire, actually is, ironically enough, he raps through having his jaw wired shut. And he had it wired shut because he was in a car accident. When he had first started working on this album, he was driving home from the studio late one night at around like 2 or 3 a.m. and he got in a car crash. He was falling asleep at the wheel, and next thing you know, he drove into a tree. And he was really beat up. Falling asleep at the wheel could end really badly, and it almost did for him. He was rushed to the hospital. His jaw was all puffed up and everything, and it had to be wired shut. And, as a producer, it doesn't really matter if your mouth is shut or not, but as a rapper, that's like the worst thing to happen to you. So a lot of people were thinking, maybe that's a sign from someone above saying stick to the beats. But that wasn't his notion of what had happened. He thought it was just, another obstacle in his come up becoming a rapper, that he just had to go out and actually start making his own raps and prove everyone wrong with his mouth wired shut. So he did exactly that. He took a song called Through the Fire by Shaka Khan, who was popular back in like the 70s and 80s. He sampled it, and the original lyrics are talking about through the fire, but the way he made it sound like she was saying through the wire. And then he just rapped about what had happened, that he was recording, came back from the studio late one night. He just talked about his come up and everything over that beat. And that was his big breakout single as a rapper. And the rest is history. So I'm just going to talk about the cover a little bit. So as you can tell, there's a bear, which is representing a college mascot, sitting in isolation, alone on the bench. And typically when you picture a college mascot, you don't picture him or her sitting alone. You picture them going crazy, throwing their hands in the air, getting the crowd into it. But he kind of flipped what the college mascot represented, the same way he flipped the stigma behind what the college dropout meant as a title for someone. And you can tell on the back cover, as presumed, he's the one under the costume. You have the title of the album down here, his own name up top. And one of my favorite little details on the album is the angels right here and here, which represents his strong belief in Christianity. And he just thought that there were angels. He believed that there were angels following him that day when he was in the car accident, saving his life, and that God was just present throughout his journey of becoming a famous rapper, and after dropping out of college, successfully chasing his dreams. So with all that being said, this album is very inspirational to me, helped me get into music back in middle school, even though it came out years prior. That's when I discovered it, and it just really means a lot to me. And I still listen to it all the time, nearly 20 years later. And there's no doubting, no matter what you think of Kanye West nowadays, celebrity image aside, that this right here is a certified classic.